a good pupil. And I said, then when they could all get up the board at the time, we had a lot of board. And that was good for them to be up, you know, like when I got that from the supervisor. Get them up, get them up. And I said, well, now when you're finished, I said, bow down so I can see your work. I couldn't, they were all together. And I said, compare your work with all the rest of them, and if you have what they have, you have the right answer. And this one little fellow, very good pupil, got it just like that. Down he went, you know, his first one. Long and behold, he didn't have what the rest of them had. He didn't add his one in over in the second column. I thought, well, how we learn from each other.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got them up and going then, definitely.
Oh, I got them up, and we kept our, this was at Our Lady of Grace, and at Our Lady of Grace we just had little windows. It wasn't like it over at St. Ed's. And I kept my windows clean. I learned from keeping house at home that I remember very distinctly. I cleaned the home, the living room, the parlor, and the dining room, and everything was, I cleaned it very nice. It really didn't look very clean. And then I washed the windows, and that just fixed it up just right. So we kept our windows clean and private, and they would do that. There'd be 5 could go over. Oh, they were just these little windows that open out, and one group of 5 would spray the windows on a certain set of windows, you know. And then the next group of 5 would go up, after that was all dry, polish them off. The next group would go up and work on the next one. And the children were moving that way. It just brings back, you know.
Sounds to me like you had a wonderful time teaching.
I did. I just appreciated it so much. And then when Sister Dominica came for visitation, I didn't think of how bluntly I said it until a year or so afterwards. I said, I'm going to quit teaching school. Not may I, but I'm going to. So they wouldn't, because I was getting up in years. I wasn't decrepit or anything. I knew I was doing a good job, but I wanted to quit while I was doing a good job, and then the parents couldn't complain that their children weren't being taught.
So what did you do when you retired from school teaching?
Well, then I lit in on the convent. There was a big closet. It was about this big, as big as this room, and then cupboards all over. And there's things up there that had been put up there and pushed back for years and years. I could tell by the names and everything, that how long they've been in the pushing back process. Clean them all out. And then you say you've never been to Our Lady of Grace?
Just for a weekend.
Well, there was a sub-basement. There was a recreation room on Normal, but then there was another level lower than that. And I cleaned that out, and that was, my. They'd been putting things down there and pushing them back, and there were boxes of big cartons, all collapsed, just thrown there. You can't imagine. And I cleaned that all out.
That was a big task, sister, a very big task.
It was,
But I think you like doing it.
yes, and I liked the consequences. It seems like only yesterday. But oh, how I did like it. And then I quit while I knew I was still doing a good job. There was one sister teaching, and a mother told me that she felt like her son had lost the whole year because he had been going to this elderly sister's. Oh, shoot. And I didn't want that been said about me, so I quit. Well, I knew there were.
Sister, what has helped you to be a good Springfield Dominican?
Well, I certainly thought a lot of Sister Imelda and Sister Virginia. They all helped.
Mm-hmm.
Sister Eulalia, those were my standbys.
If you had to give advice to a young sister coming into our community today on what she needed to do to really be a Springfield Dominican, what kinds of things would you tell her?
Well, there's certainly rules to follow. Never deviate. I don't know. It was so much fun. The Dominicans are wonderful. And I love fun, and I guess, I don't know.
Would you say fun was part of being a Springfield Dominican then?
Not fun in the lighter sense. And I'm sure not fun in the lighter sense, but there's nothing rigid about it. Nothing rigid about it. It was a life that I loved. Fact of the matter is, they weren't quite as rigid as my father was. So I grew up as a Dominican. I mean, I don't mean being rigid, but I mean doing what was right, the right time. It seems like a dream now that I've been, that's so long ago. I don't know how long. But I love those kids that I was with. And there were, I don't know, 17 or 18 of us. Francine, Joseph, Simeon. One nurse, we had a nurse, Veronica, and I was the seamstress. they would be out in the laundry, cleaning up the laundry, they, or this and that and the other thing. But I had to make some habits and mantles, and Veronica was the nurse, and 2 high school teachers, Simeon and Mary Joseph. What was her name? Was that?
Mhm. And Philip Mary.
No, she wasn't. No, not. She wasn't, honey.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Sister, if you had to describe the Springfield Dominican, how would you do it? What kind of people are we?
Oh. Live and love. But we could live our life. I went into for a visitation to see Sister Imelda. And just before I went in for my little visit, this was down in the community room,
Mm-hmm.
and Mother's office was across the hall from there. And just before I went in, they said, I heard somebody say, they can ask you to leave without even having to explain why or anything, if they deem it necessary. Well, I was upset because I had given all my clothes to my sister who could wear them, and I had saved up quite a sum of money, and I had handed that over, brought it in just like nothing. I had absolutely nothing, and just before I went in, they said they can ask you to leave without explaining why or anything. And I sat down in front of Sister Imelda, and I said, Mother, if I have to leave, can I have my money back? If I don't have it, I'm a dead duck. Dead duck was a common saying at that time, but my father had always explained to us never use slang. He wouldn't let us use slang, and so I didn't use slang. But I said, I'm a dead duck. Sister Imelda said, we don't keep dead ducks. So I was so upset. I thought, well, here I go, I guess. And then, long and behold, I had to have surgeries. It was hysterectomy, and I had heard that something to the effect, if you hide some illness or something, and they can excuse you for they were they could ask you to leave without even any, and here I had to have hysterectomy. Oh, I thought, here I go. And I was crying, and oh my, I wasn't wailing or anything, but oh, I felt so sad. And they said they would have Sister Eulalia. They knew I was, they knew that, well, I had known of Sister Eulalia before I came. And I thought she was the only one that I knew that I could go to. But anyhow, I was crying. I was, I was just, well, I thought, here I am, going out now. And I said to Sister Eulalia, well, I don't think they would take old women, let alone sick old women. And she said, I wouldn't have to leave. Makes me almost want to cry to think of it.
A lot of strange rumors were going around then, weren't they?
Yeah.
And none of them were true.
Mm.
They never wanted to get rid of you. Dead duck or no.
Oh my. And then I had to go to Morrisonville to sit with the children till the other sister got in.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my, how I wished I could teach. Oh, I wanted to teach school so bad, but I knew I couldn't because I had a high school education, but that was all. And so from Morrisonville, I went to Hampshire. Is it Hampshire, New Hampshire? What was it?
Hampshire.
Hampshire. And I was there 2.5 years. And I was with Sister Paula Marie. I've forgotten. Sister Cecilia, I think, was she was the principal and the superior. And she was so good to me. And I just love to teach. So happy to have a group of children to work with.
So you have some good memories, sister. Good memories.
Yeah, but sure.
Well, thank you for sharing those memories with me. Do you have anything else you'd like to share before I turn off the camera?
Well, I certainly have enjoyed you. We were at Aurora together, weren't we?
That one summer.
Uh-huh, and what were you doing? Do you remember?
I was supposed to be working in the preschool program, but they didn't need me, so I was doing odds and ends at the convent.
Yeah, but you were doing something extra nice.
Probably not.
And Charles Maurice was there.
Mm-hmm. Fields if there's too much rain. But the sun is out today for a change, and that's a big help, I think. Did your family farm?
Mm-hmm. Not anymore.
What kind of things did they grow?
Corn, wheat, oats,
Oh, oats.
soybeans, everything on the market.
Wow. Did you have to go out and weed the fields, walk the fields?
No, they had the harrows that they had to seed on and the plows and the combines. The real old days, they had to walk behind the arrow.
Do you remember the garden that they had here before the building was built?
Mhm.
What was that like? That you remember?
Well, Sister Mary Leo worked the garden.
Oh, she did.
We had a mule, she cared for the mule. And we had two men that lived in what, above what was the barn almost, but they had nice, arranged like a nice cottage.
Mm-hmm.
They lived there, worked the garden.
Wow. A lot of fruit and vegetables in the garden?
No, not abundant. They stuck it like potatoes and beans and like that.
Did I understand there was also a chicken?
Oh, yeah.
Lots of chickens or just a dozen or so?
Oh, they had quite a few. Sister Mary Leo liked to take care of the chickens.
Did you ever have to go out and help her with any of that?
Oh, no. She worked from sunrise to sunset.
Wow.
Is whatever was to be done.
Is that the Sister Mary Leo that we have right now?
Oh, no.
Well, this was a different Sister Mary Leo.
Right.
Oh, okay.
She'd get up and have it in the morning, go out to the garden, take the mule downtown to get groceries or what.
Wow, she was a hard worker.
Right, sunrise to sunset.
Man, that's a lot of work. What kind of trees did they have? Fruit trees.
Green?
Trees? Well, they had green trees. Did they have any fruit trees?
No, I don't think so. Not that I recall.
What kinds of things did you do when you were a novice? What were some of your novice duties?
We carried trays from the infirmary up to 5th floor.
Oh. That's a long walk.
There was one elevator, and it was for general use. And we carried those trays.
They were heavy too.
Yeah, they were.
Big and heavy.
Of course, we didn't have as many as we have now, but in 1st to 5th was
Who were some of the people that were in the infirmary? Do you remember?
Sister Francesca, and Sister Columba, and Rachel, and Francis, and Kathy Rixie. They were all on what was the gallery floor then, in the old building.
Oh, right, behind the choir loft in the old chapel.
That's about all we had in the infirmary, was that one section. And Sister Mary Frances was in for infirmary. And she cured you overnight. She'd give you a ginger drink.
A what?
A ginger drink.
Oh.
Hot, you know.
What was that supposed to do?
Oh, you're sick, had fever,
Uh-huh.
it'd take every bit of the fever out of you and cure you.
The ginger wood.
Ginger drink that she would make.
Well, I hope we have a recipe.
I guess she had some training as a nurse, you know.
Mm-hmm.
She sure took care of everybody. Got them on their feet in no time.
Wow. Now, that was Francis with an E-S?
I think it was an I. The other one was our later Sister Frances was the
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay. I have to try and keep all these people straight, because some of them are new for me. Did you ever see Sister Thomasine, or Sister Josephine, rather?
No.
The foundress?
No. Sister Cecil's and Mother Marie were the ones that I came into.
Mm-hmm. But was she around at the time doing something?
Who?
Sister Josephine?
Oh, no.
No?
Mm-mm. None of the foundresses were there when I came.
When did you come?
1925.
1925, yeah, that would be about right.
Mhm.
Did you remember hearing any stories about them and what they did? And
No, not particular.
it's amazing how many stories we don't have about them. You know, you'd think there'd be some legends or traditions that we would pass on, and we have so very few.
Well, Dr. Graham, Dr. Congressman Graham's book, have you got it?
Congressman
Graham,
Graham, G-R-A-M?
Sister Agnes brother.
Whose brother is that?
Sister Agnes Clare.
Oh, yes. No, I don't have his, but I have her stories.
Dominicans in Illinois, so they're probably like,
Oh, I do have that book, yes.
when I think everything's in there that we said as
Yeah.
far as it went.
Mhm. What do you think was one of the hardest things you ever had to do while you were in the convent? Most difficult?
I always wanted to be certain I was doing what was right. Not loafing on the job, you know, or anything like that. I didn't find it hard. We had a good time. One time in the afternoons, the music department was there on one side. And after we had a little sermon from Sister Mary Viator or Sister Clementine, whichever one, then we could go out there for 2 hours, sit and talk. And Sister Mary Adeline, Sister John Matilda's sister, was in our crowd. And she wanted to take a little lunch with him, always. And she did. She had about 4 graham crackers on her lap. And Sister Mary Lewis came walking out to the music department down, came up to say, here was Sister Adeline. She pushed these 4 graham crackers up under her. We had a black, it was a Martians. We had a black cake. She should have. I think Sister Mary Lewis were ready to ask her if she had a pain. And we were trying to keep our Snickers in.
It's good to know that you had trouble with that too. We did.
Yeah.
A little mischief never hurts, does it?
One time, Sister Mary Lewis, Mercy, she had the front community room. It was down in front, like where the parlors are now.
Mm-hmm.
And some rich people, the Wolves, were coming from Duluth. And they were benefactors of the Duluth sisters, so they were coming to visit our place. And Sister Mary Lewis, Mary Mercy had a community room. And Sister Mary Lewis had a little act, sister, get the mouse. The Wolves are coming. Oh, Mercy, she didn't know how to capture a wolf. Where are they? Where are Mercy? Well, they won't be here for a while. They're traveling from Duluth. And of course, Duluth is full of wolves.
Well, yeah,
Forests, oil woods.
Oh, that's rare. Did you ever start one of our missions?
Hmm?
Were you ever on one of our missions that was just newly founded?
Mm-mm. No. I guess St. Paul's was the one that I was on.
But it had been around a while.
Yeah. Our sister Monica, Lord have mercy on her. One day at noon, towards springtime, Sister Regina Marie was the superior, and she used to bring the mail to the table and pass it out when you finished eating. You got it one by one, she handed it to you. And Sister Monica was finished eating, so she gave her the mail. And it was toward the end of the school here. And then she had gotten up, when I got up to go upstairs, Sister Monica was sitting in the day parlor. And she said to me, "Can you come down and stop in?" Well, I did. And I stopped in, and she was sitting in the chair, kind of odd looking. She handed me the letter. She said, "The buffalo have gone, and one of the buffalo is going." She was being changed.
And that's how she found out?
Well, Mother had written to her, so, told her that, because she reached 75, and that was it, So, she was a pioneer there, and she said, "The buffalo have gone, The one who has seen the buffalo is going.
Isn't
But
that?
she would think she wouldn't have gone there, because she was there about 20 years or so. But she wasn't, she was ready to go by next morning. Or we had a couple of weeks of school in there.
Wow, that's awesome.
And she got here and took over the white switchboard. She and Sister Mary Freitas, and you were Friday, she had the three of them. From early morning to sunset.
That's fantastic. I'm sorry to have missed so many of them.
Yeah.
Do you remember Sister Vincent Marie?
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell me something about her?
And she was a little jewel. She was a community woman, you know, and everything was just even if it was something that was kind of hanging in the air, you know, to be or not to be. What's the thing? No matter what it is, it will be, and it'll be all right. And she was a very matter-of-fact woman, like. It was something that wasn't on it, and you couldn't be helpful, then stick with it.
Sounds like a woman of faith, too.
Yes, no, she was a good woman.
Now, I never met Mother Ceslas. What was she like?
She was kind of a joke. I mean, she was in, I think, 3 times. I'm not sure, but I think it was 3 times. But she was well liked. And she was a businesswoman. She could meet the lawyers and the police or whoever was calling.
Do you remember anything about a fire at the old Mother house?
Yes. Sister Redemptor was in the novitiate. I was with him. But the report was that she was the one that lighted something and threw it down the chute. But I don't think it could ever really. She was very strange. She was from New York. And she must have been 70 years old when she came or so. She was very elderly.
70 years old?
70. She's very elderly. And I think she had been in another community. I'm not sure about that, but she was very strange.
Was there a lot of damage?
No, not too much. They smelled the smoke right away. I don't think any farther than the chute. You know, it was their actually the closed chute. I don't remember which it was.
Wow. Could have been a lot worse.
And they never punished her for it or anything like that. They just took her for granted.
And Mother Marie, what was she like?
She was very precise. Gentle, tiny face. Very dignified. She was nice, and I was like her on the mission. She was the bird on the mission, I forget how many years.
It's great. We were very fortunate to have so many women of vision.
Well, see, they were people that were pioneers with the first group, you know, and they picked up all those traditions from them, and it's just part of their life. Nobody said to us, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? You're going here, and you're staying there. But that's the way people lived back then.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean, children live that way with their parents, and they never questioned it. If the parents would do it, they did it.
Yeah, right, that's right.
Two of the people that I was always sorry that I never got to know better were Sister Eulalia.
Your hand should be under your scapular, sister. Where's your rub their hand? Come there, go David. She meets you in the chapel. Sister, your hands are supposed to be under your scapular.
A real
But
lady.
everybody liked her. She was a terrific teacher.
Yeah.
Kids loved her.
And the other one was Sister Rosemary. I understand she was a very, very well-educated person.
She got all the free passes on the trains and bus. She was a real old woman. And yes, she was very community-minded. She go down in the morning, she was on the second floor, and Sister Pauline lived on that floor too. I don't know what time she got up, maybe 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. I went down, I went to the kitchen, made a pot of coffee.
Good for her.
She did. In those days, I guess it was the first time we ever had a coffee pot on the floor, you know. That people sometimes had instant jar of instant coffee and make their own. The water would be hot enough in the sink, you know. And but she'd go out, she wanted to have it. And the toast would be out and the butter would be out, not promise, butter. And jelly.
Now, you said you entered in 1929?
5.
25. So that was around the time of the Great Depression.
Yeah. But no, we didn't give it so much. Bun Capital, they kept us in bread without payment till we decided we'd pay them. And they made big loaves of bread. And when you slice it, a piece would be like that.
Oh.
There were the round molds, like homemade. That's the kind they gave us. I guess they made it special, you know, because we're having a summit meeting.
They sure are. Checking out the business on the street, aren't they? It's nice to have neighbors that aren't afraid to talk to each other, isn't it?
That lady just then come on the scene.
Oh,
I
yeah.
guess she lived next door.
That's great. That is so nice. Yeah, you get a different view over here.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Different view everywhere. Was the Depression hard on your family?
No, not too bad. We lived out in the farm and we had our own produce, you know, potatoes and all the gardening and all that. Our own chickens and our own pigs and our own beef. And,
Thank God for that.
yeah, Well, people did down there, you know. Farmersville was a pioneer city. It was a little Dublin, they called it. My grandmother lived in what they used to call Little Dublin. It was a post
Little
office.
Dublin?
My grandmother,
Oh.
my dad's people. It was out in the country. That was their first church, St. Isidore's. It was in the country. My grandma's and folks lived on what used to be the parish church. And when they built one in town, then Grandma and Grandpa lived in the rectory of St. Isidore's Church. And everybody down there had, the land was idle. You paid $1 for 200 acres just to take it in and farm it. It was all just like a prairie at that time when the people began to come over from Ireland and Germany. See, the Badenhouse girls, their folks are from Germany.
Now,
Germany.
that sister,
Elizabeth Marie and Sylvester and Rosemary.
Yeah, there we go.
So everybody was pioneers here, struck a lucky. They paid $1 for 200 acres of land. Because it had never been cultivated.
it's a lot of land.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh. Things have really changed so much.
Oh, yeah.
What did you think when we landed on the moon?
But what?
When we landed on the moon?
Well, I kept looking every night for the man in the moon.
Were you surprised?
Now you can't even see the moon. There are no stars in the sky. It's the pollution.
Oh, yeah, the pollution is
Yeah,
bad.
you never see a star anymore, or the moon even.
Too much light. It's better in the country.
Is it?
Yeah, better in the country. Here, there's the street lights and everything make it impossible to see them. But if you go out into the deep country where there are no lights, it's beautiful.
Oh.
But cities are very hard. You just don't see anything.
Yeah, even now we don't hardly ever have a cloud except when the tornadoes warnings out or something.
Yeah, it is different. Were you affected at all by our moving from the old mother house to the new mother house?
Well, we found it everybody was weeping, you know, and all that.
They were what?
Weeping.
Why?
Well, you had an attachment to stay with the Pioneer Mother House, you know. And it was just like leaving home again.
Yeah. I could see that, yeah.
And what are we going to be doing now? I call that thing Noah's Ark. It's sitting out there now. I do. I'm waiting for the devil with that olive branch to fly in.
I think I understand.
I have a good view of it from my bedroom.
Wow.
And I can see them in the morning when they come in at 7 o'clock. And one guy gets a ladder and goes up, and two more goes the other way, and some more go the other way, and some go down. And they got, I don't know what they're, I guess they're supposed to be skylights or something, but they look like coffins.
It's the installation.
Is it?
Yeah.
But look out there and see those three coffins, and now there's something out there on the top. And it looks like a net line there. First I said, oh my Lord, somebody's out there dead. Does the head and the black are all right there. It's some kind of covering they have over something.
Oh.
Who are those kids? Oh, those are our people.
Yeah, they look like our kids coming back from PE.
Mm-hmm.
You know, schools, it's amazing, you know, when you taught, I'm sure you taught it all. And now, you know, you have someone come in and teach PE and somebody come in and teach music.
I've got pictures in my classroom with 65 kids in first grade. Now, they won't believe me, but I have the pictures to pull out of the drawer and show them. Oh, they're all crowded. How many pupils in your son's class? 22.
That's how many the president wants to put in every classroom.
Who?
The president, he wants to put 22 students in every classroom.
When I went to Little, after having 65 in Jacksonville, I had 9 pupils. I had 3 desks for everyone, 3 chairs for everyone. And when the locks would open for the boats to come through, you know, I heard this horn going all the time, and the fog had lifted and the horns were going in the spring when they start coming in. I heard that, I thought it was kind of funny. I thought maybe some kind of a air raid alarm or something. I never heard them blowing horns. Yeah, all of a sudden I looked out and all my kids were sitting on the windowsills. And they're jumping all around the center, all along the big long windowsill. We were right beside the lake. And I just looked at him and I, what's going on? Sister, the boats are coming through.
Like they'd never seen it before.
Huh?
Like they had never seen it.
Well, it was probably scheduled that the locks would be open, you know. They'd be coming through it. But they didn't tell me.
That would have been a bit of a shock.
Mm-hmm.
Well, more than a little, it would have been a big shock.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gosh. What's your favorite grade to teach?
My hobby was to be the attendance at the births of mine, period. I'm going to put that on my obituary.
Now, say that again for me.
I'm going to put down my favorite hobby, the attendance at the births of a mine.
Of a mime?
Mine.
What does that mean?
I had them in first grade.
You mean you were at the attendance?
I was a teacher
Yeah.
of a mind, not a body.
Oh, you were a teacher of the mind. Yes.
The attendance at the birth of a mind. They didn't have big kindergartens in those days, so I got them in first grade. All my life.
And you really were, because that's when they began to open up new vistas to them.
My chalk pit input was 1927. My chalk pen output was 1980. 2780. And I've got a picture to show for each of those. And you wouldn't know I was the same person. 27, here I was with the vocal habit we used to have, you know, stiff.
Yeah.
And here I am now. I don't even look like the same person. 1980.
Well, that's 57 years.
I'm going to have that framed and have it in my remembrances.
Attendance at the birth of a mind.
My hobby was.
That was your
And I
hobby.
stayed that for 50-some years now.
And did a good job too, from what I hear.
Well, you know, an old pagan philosopher, Plato, said, the first thing to teach a child is to teach him or her to have a love for learning. And I remember one of my pupils now, I think it's, what's his name? Frank, well, I don't know his last name, and anytime he's here, he comes here to see Mr. Murray Leonard. The old philosopher says that the first thing to teach a child was a love for learning. And he said to me, he always said, well, you did your darndest, he said.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I think if you teach them to love learning, they'll take care of the rest themselves.
And a lot of times, that the poor children that are having difficulties in school, in the lower grades especially, it wasn't because there was any mental problem, they didn't have any hearing. You know, in those days, they didn't inspect children, you know, in their school around and test their hearing and all that. That's why they were handicapped.
And they didn't have tubes to put in their ears to make them hear better. All that stuff they can do today.
Yeah.
The children today are extremely lucky, but I don't think they know it.
No. They don't have to spend any effort on learning, homework, trial and error. When I was at U of I, I said, you'll never get TVs in your classrooms. Child will never use his mind if you have it sitting in front of the TV and everything homemade for him.
Well, I don't know how much you know about computers,
Yeah.
but you have a small round thing about this big,
Mm-hmm.
and it holds an entire set of encyclopedias. Okay, that's how much is on this, and you put it in your computer, and the child can call the encyclopedia articles up
Mm-hmm.
just by sitting there in front of the computer. Some of the things they have are just absolutely awesome. You go to a zoo and you visit not only the animals in the zoo, but you do the close-ups and you talk to the zookeepers, and all of that is on there.
Mm-hmm.
And you see them take care of the animals and feed them, which you don't always get to see. But we were trying to get the children to explore the CDs to see the stuff that was on them.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would call up something and we would write down a question, and the children would have to go and find the answer to the question in the CD.
Mm-hmm.
And invariably they would say, but it's not here, sister.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, I know that it's there. Well, it's not here. And I said, it's there, but you have to look.
Mm-hmm.
You have to try. You have to click on, you have to just explore it.
Mm-hmm.
But
No.
they want it all laid right out for them.
Oh, yeah, right.
You saw a big change then, I would say, in the children themselves from 27 to 80.
Well, you take a little frustrator, you know. He's up in here and there and doesn't, I can't read, I don't know that. I said, can you talk? You're talking, aren't you? Well, that's what this little boy here is doing in the book. Why don't you give him a chance and talk to him? It was as simple as that.
simpler the better.
And that's what most of the children, they were frightened, to see the printed page. Of course, some in their homes had done that, their parents had read to them. And I remember the Saturday Evening Post, it had a picture on the front page. The dad was reading the paper, and the little boy was on his lap. And the little boy had the magazine, small magazine, the dad had the newspaper folded back. Well, when the dad turned the page, the little kid turned it, but he had his magazine upside down. But they let it go, like it's just as it was still interest.
Imitation.
Yeah, right. Well, the sounds are coming up, I see.
Yes, it's rained almost every day, and I think it's supposed to rain again tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Sure is beautiful though, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's a little cool, but it's not bad. Not bad at all. Well, listen, I'm taking up a lot of your time, but well, Sister Mary Roberta, did you know that it's May 4th already? Are you surprised at that?
I don't know.
When did you enter the convent, sister?
1928.
That was a long time ago, wasn't it? Where did you come from?
Where did I come from?
What city? Your home?
28, I think.
And your hometown?
My hometown, Dwight.
Great place. I pass it a lot.
Have you?
How many brothers and sisters did you have?
Well, I had one brother, or I have now one brother left. It's all that's left of all the race I did have.
So you came from a big family.
Yes.
What was it like to enter the convent in 1928?
What was my life?
No, what was it like? Do you remember anything about being a novice or a postulate?
Oh yeah, there have been all kinds of pictures put up around here to entertain the different people.
Do you like those pictures?
Yeah, I enjoy
They're
it.
kind of fun, aren't they? Yeah. Are yours up? Oh, I'll have to go take a peek at those. Do you remember anything special that you did when you were a postulant for fun?
Not particularly.
Were the prayers that you said the same as what we do today?
I believe so. I believe there were.
What kind of work did you have to do as a novice?
Well, I'd say anything in the line of work.
What was your favorite novice job?
I don't believe I know.
Were you a bell ringer?
Well, I remember the bell ringing. Yes, I think I was a bell ringer.
What did they say when they ran through the door ringing that bell?
I don't know.
Let's see. I wasn't there, but I heard about it. Benny DeCamas Domino?
I guess it would sound like it would be sensible.
Yeah, it works for me. Oh my. What was the first mission that you ever went to? Do you remember? Remember any of the convents or schools that you were at?
I would think it would be St. Agnes.
Oh, what did you teach there? Do you remember?
Well, what we kept there was
Do you remember what grades you taught in school?
well, I taught in almost all the grades.
Did you have a favorite one? Big kids or little kids?
Not really.
Did you have a subject that you'd like to teach?
I think I liked math.
I bet you were a good math teacher.
I don't know.
Some things are best forgotten, huh? Yeah. Do you remember Sister Mary Mildred?
Oh, yes.
What was she like? I never met her.
Didn't you? But you missed something. She's a very nice person.
How about Sister Vincent Marie? Do you remember her?
Oh, indeed, yes.
I only remember her a little bit. What do you remember?
Sir Vincent Marie was well, she was kind of ahead of us. It was going out.
Do you remember Sister Ceslas?
Oh, yes.
What was she like? How about Sister Marie, Mother Marie? Do you remember Mother Marie?
Oh, yeah.
No, I never met her. What was she like?
Very genial person. Very lovely.
Easy to get along with?
Oh,
Do you remember any of your students and the tricks they played?
I don't think so.
They were always good though, right?
Mhm.
What are your favorite prayers to say? What prayers do you like to say? Do you have any prayers that you like to say? You want to say one with me? Are you cold?
No,
Can you
not
give me your
exactly.
hand?
Not exactly.
Okay. Why don't we say the Hail Mary together, okay?
All right.
Hail Mary, full of grace,
The Lord is with thee.
blessed art thou among women,
And blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary,
Mother of God, pray for us sinners.
now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Thank you. What's your favorite song?
Well, I didn't have any.
You didn't.
I mean, I don't remember any.
Do you like to sing?
I'm not a good singer.
Well, that doesn't mean, do you like to sing? Do you remember this one? Let's see. Oh Lord, I am not worthy that thou should come to me, but speak the word of God sweet, my spirit healed shall be. Oh yeah, you do remember that one. Let's see if I know another one that you might know. Do you know Amazing Grace?
Yes, I should know Amazing Grace.
Well, let's try that one. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Oh, we make a good singing duet, you and I. Let's see. Do you know? God bless America, land that I love. You don't remember that one though.
Didn't learn it well enough.
All right, let's see. Oh, beautiful for spacious sky, for amber waves of gray, for purple mountains' majesty, above the flooded sky. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. All right, we're good. No question about it. We are good. Can you tell me anything about your mom? What was she like? Who? Your mother? Do you remember your mom? Your mother?
My mother was a gentle person, and she didn't lose her equilibrium very much. She kept her crib and kept her grace. So just as she was, she was always ready to greet people.
Hmm. She taught that how you how to do that, didn't she?
Probably.
I think she did. Do you remember anything about your father?
Well, he was not. He didn't listen to us very much. He wasn't ready to catch on to our ways of going or listening or being.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't feel very close to him.
Did you ever garden? Were you a gardener? Did you like to plant gardens, flowers and vegetables and fruits?
Vegetables, yes.
What kind of vegetables?
What kind?
Mm-hmm.
windows with the lamps in them.
Mm-hmm. You can see those, can't you?
Yes.
That's an antique shop, did you know that? They're our neighbors.
I knew it used to be.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever help out in the garden that was here at the Mother House?
No,
Did you ever have to shell peas or pick green beans?
I don't remember that you did.
Mm-hmm.
I would think we would, yeah, well,
Oh, I imagine at some point in time you did. Did you ever, oh, I know you did laundry though, didn't you? You went down to the laundry and mangled sheets and stuff?
right.
What was that like?
Oh, pretty nice to take care of the laundry. I thought.
Can you crochet? Did you make that beautiful crochet blanket that you're wearing? That's very nice. I like the colors. Keeps you warm, doesn't it?
Yeah, that was one of the latest things I made.
Mm-hmm. It's very beautiful. I think I'll take a picture of it, okay? Because it's such a nice blanket. It really is beautiful. And keeps you good and warm. Aha, yeah, that's really nice. Did you ever go fishing as a kid?
Not as a kid, no.
As a grown-up?
As a grown-up, we used to go out to the lake and fish a bit.
Hmm. What kind did you catch?
Now that's, that I don't know much about. Bullheads? I don't know whether that was right or not.
Sounds good to me.
Well, that's the only ones I can remember.
Let's see, bass, sunfish, perch, trout,
Yeah,
salmon.
right? We used to get those at the lake.
Then you cleaned them up and ate them?
Pardon?
You cleaned up those fish and had them for lunch?
Yeah, we did that.
A lot of activity going on out there, isn't there?
Uh-huh.
More than you can see from your room, I guess. Do you have any good advice that you could give me? Things you think I should do?
Oh, really, I don't have anything new and startling.
Well, give me some of the old then, and plain. Things you think I should know so I could be a good Dominican.
Mostly I'm a good person is just a real person.
And being a real person is important.
No, it's not the easiest thing in the world.
Was it hard for you?
Yes, I guess it was.
Anything else you can tell me to make me a better Dominican? Things that worked for you that might work for me?
Well, I thank you very much for asking these questions. I don't think I've even answered them very well, but I do appreciate you.
Well, it's just nice to be able to spend some time with you. And I'll take any advice you have that will help me.
Good.
So do you have any good advice for me?
None that I can tell right off.
No, okay. Well, if you think of any, you hang on to it. You can tell me later, all right? Would you like to see yourself in the movies?
Yeah.
All right. Let me see if I can get you in the movies here.
Like that. Those were in all of the rooms. Now, when I went to Pena, which was a couple of years after I left in the Vision, we were to take those little portables I was telling you about. In Pena, you go out the back door and you go down maybe about 15 to 20 feet, and there was a railroad track. The New York Central, Big Four, I think they call it, used to pass right by there. And so, in the evenings, when everybody else would be sitting out on their lawns, we would take some of these things we wanted to dispose of, and it was like a dump, city dump, and we'd go down the tracks a certain distance away from our convent and pitch the things way out in no man's land. So that's how we got rid of all those things. And anything that we didn't want, we went down the tracks, and that was disposing of it. But it was really a nice place after you got to know the sisters. But the first Christmas was hard. We were in church practicing, and I got scared with Sister Mary Edwards. She was a hard worker. We had a huge basilica in Pena, St. Patrick's. It really looks like a cathedral. And it was built like during the Depression time, which was a wonderful thing to have. Well, the pastor never came near Sister Mary Edwards to tell her how he wanted the sanctuary decorated. Well, the Mayton roses were famous, and what they did, they gave us all their short-stemmed ones. Now, short-stemmed are okay if you're in a small room. This was a basilica, a huge cathedral. So Sister took a beautiful marble altar, and we had small evergreen trees on either side, and they had the lights on. They really looked nice. And in the sanctuary, they had they tried to fix the roses the best you could, but they didn't show up very well. Well, Father Pastor was in, God love him, hearing confessions all day, and I guess he was on the edge. When he came out, he was disappointed, but he never once came to Sister and said what he wanted. And when she raised her voice at him, I got scared. I went downstairs in the candle room because she had a right to show she was displeased because she was working over there all day, Christmas Eve. He never came near her. He was in the confessional. He probably was tired out hearing confessions all day. And I got scared. I went downstairs. So the two of them went out looking for me. Afterwards, because I was really afraid to show myself for fear they really were very serious. But it all worked out. I mean, he kind of came to an agreement afterwards and realized he was just a little too stern with us. Poor little me. So anyhow, we had a nice Christmas Eve. But it was very lonesome the first time away. So it was really great, though.
Did you like teaching?
I loved it, yeah. Yeah, I loved teaching all the time we've had it, yeah. Yeah, I taught a lot of summer school, Bible school for my brother, who was a priest out in Kansas. In the heat of the summer days, I'd go out and teach for him for about 2 weeks, which was great. I got to take my mom out there, and different sisters that would go out with me, they would bring their mom, and it was really nice. I mean, it was like a little vacation, but over the heat. Early in the morning, it'd be about 110. Well, you had to, get that wheat to ripen. But yeah, I taught them until, and I don't think you ever get over teaching, I mean, once you're a teacher, it just comes out naturally, to have it.
Do you have any favorite students or stories?
No, I'm really blessed. I have actually there's 3 boys who are priests. Now, one I don't hear from. In fact, I lost contact with him completely. Father Dan is one. And the other one is and he's in the, with the African missionary, White Fathers of Africa, we used to call him. Right now, he is in Spain and in charge of their house over there. And then I have maybe about 6 or 7 of my former girls who are nuns. I have wonderful married people that I hear from. Father Dion's probably the oldest pupil that I had that I still hear from. And that's going back, but he'll soon be ordained 50 years, so.
Oh,
yeah.
my.
So when I had my golden, he had his 25th. So that was about 12 years, 13 years ago. So the time goes very, very quickly. Yeah, and a lot of wonderful parents, hear from them. Yeah, and keep contact with the different ones.
What do you think are the qualities of a Springfield Dominican? If you had to describe what a Springfield Dominican was like, how would you describe her?
You mean what I probably had recognized
Mhm.
in them? Well, I thought the friendliness was the key one, you know.
Mhm.
They always had the time for you, especially when you're younger. You just waste a lot of time that you don't realize how precious it is to them.
Mhm.
But they always had the time to spend with you. And but even as I went to the Cincinnati Dominicans in the lower grades, I only went to our grade sisters in the last part, 7th and 8th grade. But the Mountain Dominicans I went to for quite a few years down in Immaculate Conception. And like that, I used to go over on Saturdays in particular. I don't think it was so much on Sunday, but Saturday, and help over in school. Mom always used to say, "I'll have to get your bed, take your bed over there," because you spend so much time with them. But we decorate the boards for them and the bulletin boards, whenever it was. So that's one of the things. And then with the Springfield Dominicans, so I had Sister Cletus and Sister Madeline, and they always had time after school. And a lot of their former students would come back, and we just have the one song I always remember, "Smoke Gets in Your Eye." Sister Cletus liked that one, so we used to hum it for her, and the ones that knew the words would sing it, and just very casual things. That's what it is. And just taking time out to be friendly with one another. I think that's one of the outstanding things with the sisters, that they have that kind of time to know you and know your family. So I was real happy with that.
Mhm. If you were going to give advice to me on how to make it over the next 25 years, what would you tell me?
Well, I think one of the things is keep doing what you have been doing. You appear to be very happy in what you're doing. You have a very nice personality, can meet people and they can feel very comfortable. That's very important, no matter who they are. If they're some of the very elderly in the infirmary, and call them by name whenever you talk to them. I think that's so important today. They like to hear, we all do, you perk up as soon as you hear your name, you know. Address them by name and take a little time to visit with them. So I think just being yourself and doing the things that you feel very happy doing. See? Because I think you're a people's person. You like to be with people, you know how to talk with them, and that's, I think, very important. I think that's what you do, just continue what you have been doing, because that's just what makes Sister Mary Fran, is it? Yeah.
I know, it keeps changing.
Right. So I mean, I think it's very important. And I think greeting people, you know, the years we had so much silence, you know, a lot of courtesy things we got very careless in doing. That, you know, you can pass people by, and then you have to remember as you get older, the older sisters get older, they don't always hear. And so, I mean, if you talk to them and they don't answer, you have to realize they didn't hear you, that you'd
Mhm.
have to respond back. I think just be yourself and continue doing what you're very happy in doing.
What has enabled you to make it through 64 years in the community? What
Wasn't
things-
easy, wasn't easy.
Oh, no.
Wasn't easy. I guess your prayer life is what it is. I think both my parents were great prayers, great devotion to the Blessed Mother and the Sacred Heart. And then that would go down into my priest brother, a great devotion to the Blessed Mother, and the little flower. She was canonized, St. Teresa, when he was maybe about 12 years old or so. I remember he used to make a trip. I had an aunt lived on the south side, and he would make a trip. Well, during the novena, no, he stayed with my Aunt Ellie when during the novena, but he would go out there, and that was a good hour ride on the L. And it developed a devotion to the little flower of Jesus. So I think that's what's very important, your prayer life, and faith in God. Your faith should never waver when you do things. And have fun in what you're doing, and let people know you're having fun. You know, that's what's important. Everybody likes to be around happy people, and that's what life is all about. So just continue it. And just recall the good times. There's always going to be a few bad times that make you appreciate the good, so just have to balance that. Nobody's going to be exempt from sad things. Those are all across this place in your pathway. You just have to see that and thank God for every day that you're able to go on and serving Him.
In 64 years, you have seen lots of changes in the Springfield Dominicans. What are some of the good ones?
Well, I think one of the good changes is the relationship with our families, that we can spend good times, quality time with our families and celebrating, if it's not birthday, I mean, special birthdays and special anniversaries, getting together, because I think if you stick together with your family is with people who love you most, and they want the best for you. So I think that's we've gone a long, long way with our families, and they appreciate it a lot. But yeah, I think that's one of the great things that the Springfield Dominicans have.
Any other changes that you've noticed? There have been so many, I mean, you couldn't do
Yeah,
them
there
all.
are so many different changes. You change along with them, you forget there's even a change then. No, I appreciate that very much. And then you have great permission to go on retreats if you want to go elsewhere. I'm kind of content staying home and having quiet retreats. Other people just get kind of excited going out and seeing new things. That's okay for them. They want to be a hermit, let them go and be a hermit. So you have to respect each individual, what they like to do. But I think that's what's very important. We can do that. If you have something special you're interested in, you have the opportunity to go and take courses in it, study it, major in it if you're that fond of it. This is great, but we didn't have that in the past. We were put into situations that it was only the grace of God that you persevered in doing what He called you to do. So, and since times in the world have changed so rapidly, that we have to make changes to go along with it. But all things in moderation. Don't jump on the first bandwagon, kind of observe it a little bit and see if that's what you really want. And then always interpret things. When I attended Webster Grove many years ago in St. Louis, we used to eat with the sisters. And they used to read their rule and constitution. One of the things that always impressed me so much in their part of their constitution was always interpret things in the most favorable light. And that puts a whole new perspective on the situation.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, if you just take that, you know, put the interpretation you think they might have, you may interpret it a little differently, which means maybe probably the right thing to do. But always interpret in the most favorable, what you really think they really meant. I think that's a big secret to be able to have.
Can you think of anything else you'd like to tell me at this point? I kept you talking for over an hour.
I didn't even touch that water.
That's all right.
No, I think just continue to do and they help others through the work that you're doing. I mean, that's what's important.
Mhm.
See, that's, you have to be very knowledgeable of the mechanism, for instance, of the camera. I mean, that camera would be dead unless you really knew how to operate it. So,
Mhm.
I mean, that's, and you have aptitude for that, great. And that's what I think you should do, and encourage other people.
Got her dishes to serve because you wanted to send the dishes down, and there wouldn't be enough. So it was great. Whoever could grab it first when it was left. It was a real war out there.